After the big trip that was last week's vlog, I'm going on a little miniature road trip to go see a buddy that you'll actually recognize from that vlog. Let's go over and see my buddy, Gnome Forge. This part of the vlog is brought to you by all of the people who support me on Patreon. The Be Knives Patreon page is where you're going to get in and see exclusive posts, early access to YouTube videos, as well as a monthly giveaway. Every single month, I'm going to make something, feature it on this vlog, and then give it away to a lucky Patreon supporter. Good luck to all of the Patreon supporters. We're going to be making a bunch of really cool things, and I can't wait to see who gets the giveaway. We made it to Ryan's, and oh my God, you gotta see this shop. This giant black barn is like exactly what I would always want. Black on black everything. This man knows exactly how to do things. Look at it in here. Holy cow. It's like a knife maker's paradise, but they make hammers in this place. And here's Ryan.
Hey.
How you doing, bud?
Oh, not bad, baby.
Oh yeah. What are we gonna be working on today? What's the fun?
Today, we're staining handles. We gotta get the rest of the handles stained for the house-made dog heads.
Oh yeah?
So that's what I do, is I make all of Housemaid's production hammers.
Yep.
These are all the dog heads. We also have to do a lot of polishing today.
Here, let's check out one of these things.
Yeah, a lot of
Look at these beauties. Oh, just a little bit of media still stuck in the eyes.
Yeah.
GHF. Gnome Hammer Forge.
Yeah, good old tumbler. It likes a lot of media in there. Especially in these ones, because it's too big for the eyes. So it just gets sick.
Well, let's go and I'm going to do a quick run around of your shop and see all the cool stuff. And then you've got a project for me, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, let's go check this place out. Speaking of the tumbler, look at this giant thing. Imagine how many knives I could fill this thing up with. Holy cow. This thing's wild. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to slam that. And then over here we have a Revolution. He specifically uses just for woodworking. This man has what, 3 Revolutions now?
Yep. 2 Revolutions and a Tsunami.
The Tsunami. All right. Let's see. This looks like a big heavy vise over here.
Yeah, that's an apprentice. That's for getting all the eyes cleaned up.
What's it called?
It's an apprentice vise.
Apprentice vise?
Yeah, it's
okay.
I think it's apprentice bulldog, like a 256.
256?
Yeah, it's heavy as hell.
Heavy as hell.
Super heavy. It's like probably 150 pounds or so.
150 pounds apprentice. Holy cow. Yeah, that thing's massive. Nice little striking vise, or striking anvil.
That's the daughter's anvil.
Oh, it's your daughter's anvil. All right.
That was the first one I made for myself, and then I got a real anvil. The legs are a terrible angle.
Gotcha.
But that was when I was like 4 months experience and didn't know anything about what I was doing. So
yeah.
It was very makeshift.
Hey, man.
My wife did all the welding on it because I didn't know a lick of welding. She was a welder, so I didn't know a lick about it.
Sometimes you gotta slap things together and make it work, right?
Oh, yeah, man. It worked great. And my daughter uses it all the time to make wands and stuff. So
back behind me. Now tell me about this. It's the coal iron. What is this situation? The induction forge.
Yeah, it uses water. Like it uses these coils to heat up metal, which.
Oh, we're getting a demonstration right now, huh? Holy cow! Just like that.
Yeah, and these really aren't the right coils for it. Like you can make the coil specific to the material you're working.
Okay.
And make it really easy. So you make super quick work.
Who would have guessed the guy who makes hammers knows how to use one? That's crazy. A taper that quick, and the fact that it heated up that quick.
Probably my quickest, cleanest taper I've ever seen.
Hey, there we go. That's what we're looking for. That looks very drinkable, right?
Yeah, it's all the, I was washing off all the hammers coming out of the tumbler,
gotcha.
so it's all the scum sitting on top.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Then over...
That was a house-made crossbeam.
House-made crossbeam, $100 hammer.
One heat tapers.
One heat tapers. Now, this guy, this is like in a giant Apollo, right?
Yes, yep, this is my hammer forge.
The hammer forge.
You can tell it's taken a lot of, I think I've done 100 or more hammers since I've gotten it already.
How long have you gotten it so far? Couple months?
Couple months at most, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at most. And it's had 2 runs of hammers go through it. It's holding up. I mean, I've cracked some stuff, but...
Well, you know, that's gonna happen.
Dude, this thing, it heats up billets so quickly compared to my old forge, which is sitting...
Somewhere around here.
Somewhere. I think it's on the shelf over there.
Okay.
It's it was an NC Tool Co., but it's natural aspiring, so it's just not great for...
Yeah.
It takes forever to heat up. Once it's hot, it's hard to get it to stop being hot. But yeah, it just would take, and if I threw a batch in, it'd take 45 minutes to an hour to heat,
Just to heat it
heat
up.
a batch. This takes maybe 20 minutes.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Half that
To
time.
heat up a batch of 16 hammers, so like that's pretty damn quick.
Now, the next crazy thing I'm looking at, holy cow, this is a dream, dude.
60 ton.
60 ton?
Full iron. Yep.
And that's with this computerized situation.
Yep, with the digital press controller, and then it's got 10 horsepower power.
Oh my gosh, this is the motor. This giant thing is running this giant thing.
Yeah.
But
got all kinds of bolsters and plates and stuff.
I mean, talk about how much of an upgrade this must have been over what you used before.
Yeah. I mean, I went from, let's see, 3 years ago, I started with a 12 ton, my first 12 ton, and I don't even know if I had that for a full year, and I went to the 16 ton. I had that for 3 months, and then went to a 40 ton, because it just wasn't enough for how fast I want to make stuff. Like,
Sure.
that's where it all comes in, is the speed, because I had a decent forge, the big one, and then NC Tool Co. one, and it was going faster than I could go because the press couldn't keep up and it couldn't do enough in one heat. So I went to a 40 ton and I did my first house-made batch of cross beams with that, and then that's when stuff really started to pick up, and I was like, I need something that's more accurate and take out the room for error, and that's where Coal Iron came in. They just dropped the 60 ton. Like, I was the first one to buy one.
Yeah.
I was the first person to have a 60 ton press from them. I went to their facility and tested their one that they had in their school, and it sold me on it. I bought it right there, and yeah, it's been killing it ever since. It's made like 300, 200 hammers now or something like that.
Nice. I love how you measure things in the amount of hammers it's made.
I mean, that's all I make. So.
All right, continue over here. You can go back to work over there. I don't want to stop you up. All right, we've got some welding situation over here. This giant Lincoln welder. Can't go wrong with that. Looks like we've got a little table full of projects maybe. Looks like a lathe.
Equipment table that doesn't get used.
Yeah. Well, you know, everyone's got to have some,
It's very seldomly used.
yeah. Of course,
Usually when I'm fat and stand or something, that's the only time it's used.
Of course, I almost ran into this giant, what'd you call this, a high-low? The forklift. I've heard forklift, I've heard high-low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's got a different name for it. Little rack situation, and then the fun little bit over here, well, of course, here's this, and inside of here, you guys might recognize, if I can open this up with one hand, this is the reason that brought me over.
It's mine now.
Hey! Yep, the Sack Chef. This one's going to its owner this weekend. So this is no longer up for grabs, but hey, thank you to Ryan for bringing it back from Blade Show for me. Nice little shout out for Pelican Paste. Gotta love Pelican Paste. And then, like I was saying before, coming over here, We've got another revolution. This one is his metal revolution. And then the big boy Tsunami. This thing is wicked. It's a 3x79 made by Housemade. And this is actually the project I was saying before that he's gonna have me work on. We're having a little bit of issues. We can see, let's turn it down a little bit. So when we turn that on, I can turn it up a little bit, we're having an issue where it's either the motor or the VFD that is making it do this jitter situation. So my job today is to take this VFD, take it off, replace it with another one, and see if it's the VFD or the motor that is making this jitter happen. I'm sure if I called up Brian, he'd be able to answer it right off the bat, but I kind of want to play with this anyways. All right, Ryan, I've got it all set up. I've got the next VFD lined up. We're going to learn. What are we going to learn? Why did we switch out the VFD?
To see if it's the VFD causing the issue with it skipping, with it's doing its little
Jittery.
Yeah, quarter inch at a time.
Or if it's the motor that's blowing.
Yeah, or if it's the motor.
So we've got the VFD on. Let's see if this Tsunami's alive. Yeah, buddy. It's a little unaligned, but...
Yeah.
Here, let's see that thing going. All right. How fast can these Tsunamis go? I would say that that's a success. Looks like the house-made Tsunami is back again. Love that thing. I'm excited to maybe have one in my shop someday. That'd be nice. So Ryan, I want to quickly walk through what it takes to make a hammer in this shop.
Yeah.
I see you've got a bunch of blanks here. What's going on there?
So these are for the dog heads that I
Okay.
make for house-made. So we start off with 1.25 inch
Okay.
by 1.25 inch, and it's 3.5 inches long.
What kind of steel is this?
1045.
1045
Make
steel.
all my hammers out of 1045.
What's the advantages of 1045?
It's easy to heat treat.
Okay.
It's very, very relaxed on its heat treat regimen. So, and it's just a hardy tool steel. It's medium carbon-ish.
Yeah.
Low to medium carbon range.
So this is a hunk of
Super-
1045.
Super easy to heat treat. It's water quenching.
Yeah.
You don't need to temper it. It's not necessary to temper 1045.
Okay.
We do from time to time. A lot of the time I don't. Well, most of the time I do. But
Do you have an example of what this would look like at the end?
yes. Yeah, that's all of these at the end here. All of these are the dog heads. They started as that, and we preform our taper in, and then we punch, drift, push down on the sides to go from an round hole to an oval.
Well, so if you were going to take the next step on this one,
Yeah.
where would you take it?
So first thing I would do is throw them in the forge, throw them in the nice house-made forge,
Mm-hmm.
get them heated up.
All right.
And then we'd take them and we'd use our profiling dies here. It's got a little bit of a swoop so that we can gently ease into it. And they're tapered these themselves are tapered so that they make that tapered profile
Nice.
for the preform. And then we'd swap out to our punch and stripper set, which I don't know where the punch is. Oh, it's right here.
It's running away on you.
Nope, there it is. So then we do a round punch.
All right.
For punching the eye. And I have a couple bolsters. So usually, like if I'm only making one, I'll punch, and then I'll swap and put bolster in to drift, and then do the other one to drift.
Here,
and I'll do all that in one heat usually.
So this is what makes the hole for.
Yep, this is what punches your eye.
Punches
so
your eye, and that's where the hammer or the handle goes into.
So this
correct.
would go. Yep. So this would go in like so, and it would. It's not plugged in. I was moving stuff around. So yeah, you'd punch with this, and it'd punch our eye out. And usually the eye is still there, like because it just gets stuck in the hole.
Sure.
Sometimes, I mean, sometimes it pops right out.
The plug, you mean?
But yep, the plug.
Yeah.
Slug, good old slugger. All these guys in here.
Oh yeah. So this material.
Those are all the byproduct.
That's
punching.
That's the little slug that comes out.
For the dog heads. Yep, they might be shaped like this if they're for like the cross beams.
Okay.
Because it's a different type of punch.
Okay. Interesting.
And then you've got the big boys from the axe ones.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yep, that's the axe slugs.
Interesting.
But
so
yeah, and then we'll bring them to here. And usually I have like, there might be some. No, I don't think there are. Usually I'll put this here and I have a pass through so that the slug falls through. And then we'll go to the bigger bolster, and that'll drift out our hole to final size.
All right.
That way we go back to the profiling dies and set our dimensions on our digital press controller.
Okay.
Back to the original profile, so that when we smush on the cheeks, everything goes back to flush.
So that
This sets all the dimensions. So like my lower set point, that's as far down as the press will go.
Okay.
Like it'll stop 0.2 from the 0 point, which I set. Usually I'll just almost touch the plate, and that's where I'll set my 0.
So in layman's terms, this thing, if you're putting in if you want to squish something to, let's say,
if you want to make something a 1/4 inch, you just set your lower set point for a 1/4 inch.
You set a 1/4 inch on that, and then the plates will only come down to that thickness. That's amazing.
Hold on, I'll play it.
Oh, we're getting a full demo, huh?
Well, I can just show you. Yeah, I'll show you what kind of I'm not going to change the dies, but
Of course.
type of processes go into, or what you can do with it, really.
Sure.
So we'll set that as our 0, and now it won't go. It's in punch mode, so it stops at 3 inches from the 0, and then all I have to do is hold down the pedal, and it does the whole thing for me. But it only does one because it's in punch mode. If I were to go into auto, it'll do it over and over again. But we'll set our set point for like 2.75, so you can see how fast it can really go. Like they can go pretty quick. You can even set it lower than that. Like we can go a 10th. So you can imagine drawing out material with a pair of rounding dies. This could be extremely efficient because it almost acts more like a power hammer. So, but you have to have it dialed in pretty good.
Yeah.
To get to that point. But like anyone that was trying to make Damascus or anything like that thing will draw out material so quickly.
So here's the question: how much does one of these presses run for?
This setup that I have is 18 grand.
How worth it is it to you?
It's worth probably 25
grand. There we go.
Like it does, and it does an extreme amount of work.
Yeah.
And you can pretty much put anything in it, and it's gonna do whatever you want. I mean,
all right.
60 tons is hard to beat.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to that blank. We've got it shaped. We've got the whole thing figured out. Then I imagine you quench it?
Yeah, no.
No.
Then I stamp. Then we
Stamp.
stamp, then we do all our stamping. And then, which actually, before we even stamp, we'll get the whole forged process out of the way. We'll stamp the sides. Like we'll put our GHF and our house-made logo stamps on there, and then we'll rough grind.
Okay.
Yep, and then we go over to the Tsunami, and we grind off all the meat.
The
Especially
Tsunami-
off the back pole, because the back pole from punching, it swells out. So we grind it flat.
Now, this is the Tsunami I just fixed, right?
Yes.
All right,
Yep.
cool.
Yep, so we'll go on here and we'll go with the platen, and we'll grind everything flush, like everything square, as far as the back and front, because that's all the grinding that needs to be done. And then, so we'll rough grind and get everything up to 60 grit, and then we'll go back to heat treat.
Okay.
And for heat treat, the beauty of this nice forge that Brian made for me, the beauty of this thing is I can set them all to where just the faces are sticking in. And he designed this so well that all the fire stays in the box. Even with the door wide open, I have no dragon's breath coming out.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's very efficient. So I can stick just the faces in, so only the faces are getting hot, and then we quench in the big tub.
Yeah, this nice fresh water, right?
Yep. Which I aim for a red, dull red, and it's comes out beautiful.
Yeah.
You'll see I already cleaned up all the faces, but with 1045, if you have a good heat treat, you'll have like a white, very light gray color on the face, like it, and that's how you know you got a good heat treat. If it turns that white, you got the speckles or big splotches, then you've got a hard face.
Okay.
And then from there,
I imagine
So
probably a little
clean
more
up work.
polishing. Do you do any more polishing after that?
Yep, that's
Yeah.
the next stage. After it's ground, then we throw them in the tumbler, or after they're heat treated, they go into the tumbler.
Oh, that makes
The
sense.
Z-scale,
Yeah, this big thing that I was looking at
and
earlier.
then they get oiled.
Where do I turn this thing on? I want to show people.
Yeah, that side switch there.
Woo!
Which usually it has water coming in, but the pipe that it came with, it was all corroded, so I have to fix that. Right now, I just spray it with a hose every once in a while.
So now these ones are all tumbled, so that's what it looks
they've
like.
been tumbled and oiled, because that's the next step, is we put some oil on them to keep them from rusting, so they don't rust while we're doing handle work. And usually, while these are cooling off or something, or heating up, I'll be shaping handles.
Okay.
We shape all the handles. They all are house handle coat blanks.
Okay.
So they come like this. And then I shape them to how I want them. It went too far. Oh, okay. These are the actual blanks. They don't
There we
have any
go.
grinding on them. And then we go from that to something like this.
I see you put a lot more facets in it, and that's your hammer is one of the only hammers I ever use in my shop. Yeah, man.
Love to hear it.
These facets are what does it for me. It's so comfortable in the hand.
Yeah, that's coming off the grinder to do 60 grit, and it's all done on the contact wheel. And I have a method, 5 passes on every side.
Wow. Nice and efficient then.
Yes, yeah, I had to figure that out for the classes I taught, because I was like, I really don't pay attention to any of that stuff. So, but yeah, then I'll go like this, and then I'll use the orbital sander to clean everything up, bring it to 120 grit, knock down all these sharp corners.
Okay.
So no one's getting blisters. And then they get the stains, and we get Kona stain.
That's what you're working on right now. You've got
Yeah, those are from the last batch. These were reject handles.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
So you're using this black stain.
Even going all the way through the staining process and stuff, there's usually still rejects in the batch. Usually because like they won't be ground perfectly square. Actually, these ones are pretty good. These might have just been extras. I know that one.
So then
that one's obviously a reject.
Once you have that sanded and painted, or not painted but stained.
Then we come and we stain them, hang them all up. Those all just got the ebony stain on the bottom half. So I'll do the entire thing in Kona, and then I'll take quad 0 steel wool and rub them all down to take all the excess off to kind of blend them nicely.
And
then
then
I'll do ebony on the bottom half and using a actual brush, not a sponge brush. I'll use one of these for doing all the ebony, the base coat.
Sure.
Because it lays down a lot more evenly.
Okay.
But then I'll use like a horsehair brush.
Yeah, I'm seeing this one as the regular.
Then I'll use like one of those for doing the black because it blends. It does the blends better. It makes it so it's not such a rigid line.
Sure.
That way I can actually blend the brush together, and then I'll steel wool those tomorrow morning to blend everything together so it makes the nice faded.
And then all it is at that point is just marrying the handle to the head, right?
Yeah. Yep. And then I'll have to polish all these. That's what I'll work on today, is getting all these polished up and ready for hanging. And I'll have to die grind the eyes too, so everything sits nicely.
Quick question.
What's that?
What is it about hammer making that you love so much?
I don't know. I am obsessed with hammers. I just love hammers, man. And it's production too that I'm obsessed with a lot. I don't know. It's something about making tools that other people use to make great. And to me, like I see all the art that people make with these things, and like not whether it be knives or sculptural work or coffee scoops, whatever they make, like it's knowing that the tool I made helped them make something that they can kind of be successful with, because that's something I have a lot of passion for. It's just making your own success and not relying on jobs, pretty much not relying on corporate jobs or working for someone else, because that's what I do all day is I work in my shop and make hammers.
All right. One last question before I leave you be. Where can people find you?
Instagram, Gnome Hammer Forge. You can also, I have a website, gnomehammerforge.org, where I sell tool steels, and you can email for quotes. I can get you pretty much any kind of tool steel, mild steel for projects. So, there.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's it.
I'll link that all down in the description down below. Ryan, thank you so much for having me out in your shop.
Absolutely.
It's great seeing you again.
Yeah, go out there and get after it.
Yeah, man. Thanks again.
Thing.